And a pair of defensemen got swapped. The Nashville Predators trading Alexandre to his home province. The Quebec City native is going to the Habs, and going back the other way is Justin Barron. Let's start with what the Habs think they're getting in Carrier, a 28-year-old who had just signed an extension in Nashville not that long ago. Not a lot of miles on him for being 28. He's under 300 games played, I believe, and he's got 2 more years at $3.75 million. Why did a rebuilding team in Montreal get older and more expensive? What's the thinking here from the Habs?
Well, the thought process is they need more support defensively is one. And two, they want to do that without having to bring up players from Laval in order to make that happen. So they want to keep those guys, the younger guys, getting as much seasoning as possible. And they also wanted to strengthen their team. And they bring in Carrier, who I think can check a lot of those boxes. First off, he mentioned that this was on La Poche Bleu, that this is his childhood dream. So that's exciting. From a Preds perspective, I think it's a little bit more curious. So now if you want to lay out the timeline here, last year, Alex Carrier makes it through deadline day on our trade targets board. He had been in demand. A bunch of teams had called. He's just a well-rounded, not great at any one thing, but really good at everything defenseman. A little bit on the smaller side, sub 6 foot. He's 5'11". And that's one concern moving forward for the Canadiens is some size on their blue line. But from the Preds perspective, they keep him through the deadline. They wait all the way until July 1st before reaching a 3-year deal with him, as you mentioned. They get that deal done, and then you trade him in December. So it is curious, but what I'll say is a couple things. Justin Barron, they bring in, who's younger. They trade a proven commodity for a question mark. Justin Barron has not established himself yet as a legit NHL defenseman, a full season NHL defenseman. He's a right shot guy who's younger, that does have a little bit more size. That is interesting. But to me, the big win in this, and a big reason why I'm watching the clock until the trade freeze hits on Thursday night at midnight Eastern, is they got cap space. $2.6 additional million in cap space. They're now above 4. The thought process around the league is that the Preds are bringing in this cap space to then go out and acquire a center. Will Barry Trotz be able to pull that off before the freeze happens? I'm not sure. They've been in conversation with a bunch of teams about a bunch of different things, so it's hard to pinpoint exactly what that is. But the decision to move on from Carrier now, to me, is most definitely connected to something else.
Wow. Man, I'm just trying to quickly, and I whatever, maybe it's not the most entertaining thing. I'm thinking of all the centers we've talked about as guys who have maybe been on the market over the last month and who could maybe be a fit there. Do you think they're looking for more of a stopgap, or are they maybe looking to make a home run swing? We've talked about Cousins a lot on this show. You've brought up the name Josh Norris in Ottawa. Is it that level, or is it $3-4 million veteran to just hold them over?
I think any and all of those things have been on the table. Yeah. I'd be surprised if it's Norris, but I think it's a big risk to take on that shoulder. But, stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
I think they talked to the Flyers about Morgan Frost, for instance, but there's not anything happening with that right now. I think they've examined the market. Some younger guys, some guys that need a change of scenery, some older guys. I think they've been all over it.
It'll be interesting. If I set the line, shout out Bet365 at 1.5 for more trades before midnight tonight. Where are you going? I know I did half on DFO Rundown today. It was an easy over, but 2, Frank.
Probably saying no.
Okay. So maybe one. Again, keep it glued, dailyfaceoff.com. Turn on your tweet notifications for Frank as well, so you get the news, boom, right when it hits. What's up, hockey fans? If you enjoyed that video, then you need to be hitting the subscribe button right here at Daily Faceoff. Exclusive interviews and analysis from our hockey insider Frank Seravalli, fantasy updates from Brock Sagan, and a daily live show at noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the fantastic content, so hit that subscribe button.